And as I touched upon in terms of these questions that come up, the EU AI Act is rules based. The UK is more principles based, and the UK is sort of saying, well, I know it's principles based, it's a bit more open for interpretation. We want to encourage investment, and we want to encourage flexibility. You know, we're not in the EU anymore. We want to be able to use AI for innovation and contribute towards the economy. And the EU is deemed a bit more restrictive because it is that rules-based approach. And you are generally starting to see the geopolitics of AI evolving. So just taking a step back from, am I in the EU? Am I in the UK? Am I in Singapore? Generally speaking, you do have a lot of geopolitics around this technology. We've seen it in the restrictions that the US is putting in terms of who can purchase the NVIDIA GPUs that power AI, which countries can have that technology, specifically down to the chip level, which chips can they have and what they can't have, because the impact in terms of society is going to be huge, right? So you have this arms race at a country level, not only about the regulation, but also who has access to the resources when it comes to AI. And there are some at a deploy level. There are companies, and we've got some examples here in terms of Apple and Meta, that are looking at what the EU are doing and going, well, actually, that is a bit too restrictive for us. It's a bit too restrictive for us because there are so many unknowns, and we don't necessarily want to be fined 7% of turnover or 35 million euros, whatever is higher, because the EU have already hit us with that GDPR fine stick. And if we deploy our technologies into the EU, are they going to come after us for, with the AI fine stick, because they have, a lot of history, a good track record of fining American ed tech. And you'll see here that, there are decisions that are being made specifically for the EU and the UK about access to AI models. So tech companies are choosing whether to restrict access. So both at a geopolitics level, at a country level, you have countries and parts of jurisdictions making decisions around the laws in terms of rules-based, principles-based. But then at an ed tech level, you go, well, actually, we don't want to say we want to be fined. How much risk do we want to absorb? Yes, we've got great technology, but do we want to make it available? Just think about it from an equity level, an equitable access to technology globally across the world. If some countries are fully restricted from accessing the best AI, or students are restricted in particular countries that they can't use AI for learning purposes, but in other countries it's not restricted, you're going to get a complete disparity in terms of, or potential disparity from an equity basis on the benefits that can come with using AI. And I just think that's a really, really interesting point, and I think it's going to be amplified in the next 12 to 24 months about how that plays out. And rather than how great the AI is and what I know, how many videos I can make, I think there's going to be more of a discussion moving into sort of this area. And at a country level, there's a whole thing, the sort of the term that I'm referencing is AI nationalism, right? It's we have access to this technology, we are making the decisions, and we are not allowing other people to using it, or we are allowing certain organizations or countries to use it. And there's a range of, I won't go through all of these individual points, but you can see the one on deck. I think it's going to open up a lot more complex conversation, and geopolitically, we already are in a very tensioned world. I think this is going to just elevate a number of different tensions and frictions by restricting access to sort of technology that is game changing in many circumstances. And what we are seeing is, but globally, regardless of the AI nationalism and what their Meta or Apple are saying, there is this global consensus on that the deployment of AI, is outpacing governance, and the EU AI Act is like a rule, as I said, a rules-based approach to sort of like restrict or to put more constraints on it. You have a global emphasis on equity,